Eric Trump just went on live TV and said, get ready for the floodgates to open. And his father, the president, might have just confirmed it. October has just arrived. And if history rhymes, there's a reason to believe that the top is not in and the bull market is actually about to begin. Welcome back. We've got the Trumps, Kaiser, Jack Mallers, Jim Cramer, and the signals telling us to buckle up and put on our bullish war paint. That's right, it's Satoshi time. Let's go.
The floodgates are opening, right? For the first time, Schwab is custodying, Bitcoin. Fidelity is custodying Bitcoin. I'll never forget. I signed into a Fidelity account not too long ago. The first thing that pops up is this little icon. Would you like to create a Fidelity digital asset wallet? And I said yes. I literally clicked yes on it, and all of a sudden you could buy Bitcoin on there. You look at what Chase is doing. You look at what all the major banks are doing, right? I mean, all of a sudden you're no longer trying to do, Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin using a ledger and using, DeFi. You can literally buy it through spot ETFs for the first time, and every bank is custodying it. I mean, we are on the 1 yard line of cryptocurrency, and we've got another whole field to run, as explosive as it's been. So I do think it hits $1 million eventually. I've never been more bullish on anything in my life. And listen, Charles, I was telling everybody to buy it when it was at 40,000, and here we sit at 115,000. Right. I'm more bullish on it today because of the legislation in this country, and because of how widely adopted it's been. And I can tell you, I talk to the biggest companies, the biggest families in the world, and every single one of them is racing to buy Bitcoins.
Of course, he knows something massive is probably coming. I mean, it's not like he's an insider or anything. Technically, we're all kind of insiders because we're so far ahead of this, but I digress. While Bitcoin adoption is growing at a faster pace than the internet did, we're still so early. Bitcoin is at 3% adoption in 2025, which is equivalent to social media users in 2005 or internet users in 1990. Imagine. You're not wrong. You're just ahead of the curve. But the world, whether intentional or not, is flashing the Bitcoin bat signal. Sometimes you gotta ask yourself, are they intentionally telling people to use Bitcoin? Case in point. The US debt even has Jim Cramer out here saying, buy crypto. And thank God he said crypto. That is massively bullish for Bitcoin. Keep going, Cramer. But you can see that all these things we've talked about for years with Ron Paul people are now becoming common language. Inflation, the Fed, currency debasement, Weimar, debt spiral. This is now common vernacular, and the choir spreading the sound money gospel is growing every day because of things like this. President Trump has committed to spending over $1 trillion on the military in 2026. The military-industrial complex needs the money printer, and it's going to get it. It's becoming more and more obvious every day. If your money isn't fixed, it's hard to value anything. The money is broken, and Bitcoin fixes that, and in doing so, it fixes so much more.
Because look, you're young, you've obviously done extremely well. You could live the Lambo lifestyle, but you're turning your back on that. How do you stay that course? Because I know a lot of, folks or young people I speak to just, want to get rich quick, want the money, but how do you stay focused and see beyond, all the material, shiny, nice objects that you could have, Jack? You could have all of that.
I think Bitcoin taught me that more than anyone else or any other experience, to be totally honest with you, because when you do understand the concept of time and energy and contributions to society, then a fancy car isn't ever worth the Bitcoin that I've worked to acquire. And so I only trade and exchange my Bitcoin for experiences for people I love, to be honest. I mean, how beautiful is it? How beautiful of an idea, I guess, is it that, we can make the world a better place for the people that we care about the most. And so Bitcoin taught me that. It really lowered my time preference and taught me the value of things. I think it's really impossible to value things if there's an infinite amount of dollars. I like to draw this similarity to the promise of death. This is going to get potentially a little weird or dark, but it's the promise of
We
death.
invite that. I invite that.
It's the promise of death that allows us to value our life. If I was never going to die and I knew that, then I'd go to the gym in 1,000 years. I'd think to get married in 10,000 years. I would never care to value today. And that's very similar to the dollar. If there's infinite amounts of dollars and we're going to roll this debt over forever, then how do I value my paycheck right now? And so I think what death means to life, Bitcoin means to money and to value. And so Bitcoin gave me that finite promise that allows me to value the time and energy that I spend right now. And it's not worth expending a tremendous amount of my time and energy on a yellow car that goes really fast. In the same way that knowing that I'm going to die, it's not worth ever wasting a day, a week, a year.
The Trumps in the world are signaling what Max Kaiser has been saying for a long time. The train is leaving the station.
For the next 500 years. Can you explain what you mean?
Sure, of course I can explain what I mean. You have a world where the train is leaving the station. Bitcoin has changed everything fundamentally. And those with coin, or the coiners, versus those without coins, the no coiners, there will be a split in the world and society. And we won't be looking at the world in terms of nation states anymore. I think the nation state becomes passé or disintermediated. Central banks are obliterated. And you have the global tribe of millions of Bitcoiners who have all the money. And then there'll be everybody else who doesn't have it. They'll just be living in a different reality. And that template will be set for 500 years because Bitcoin is perfect money, and it's taken 1 million years to get to Bitcoin. We finally achieved it. And now it's a day of reckoning. If you have no coin, you'll probably be living in the equivalent of hell. If you have coin, you will be living in heaven.
More from Max on how Bitcoin is a check and balance against the military-industrial complex, and also why not only Eric Trump, but history tells us to buckle up for an explosive Q4. But first, let's recognize our sponsors powering the show at Ledn, the global leader in Bitcoin-backed lending. Ledn has issued over $9 billion in loans since 2018, and a perfect record of protecting client assets. Why is a Ledn loan different? With custodied loans, collateral is not lent out to generate interest, no credit checks, funds in less than 6 hours, no monthly payments, repay whenever you want, with 0 penalties, and proof of reserve reports verified by a top accounting firm are published every 6 months. Ledn gives Bitcoin holders a secure, transparent way to unlock liquidity without selling. Learn more at learn.ledn.io/simply.
The states will disintegrate because states don't have any Bitcoin, so they will disintegrate, and they'll go to war with each other. I was speaking with a gentleman last night from Pakistan, and Pakistan and India recently got into a bit of a kerfuffle, a jet fight in the air. Mm-hmm. He was saying, well, the Pakistani jets cost us like 50 million, and their jets cost 250 million, and we shot down their jets, and our bombs are 50 million. And I said, let me explain to you how a Bitcoiner sees this. A Bitcoiner looks at you, two countries, going into debt to buy weapons to kill each other, which you then have to pay for by printing more money or borrowing more money. That means my Bitcoin goes higher. So, I could try to get you to buy Bitcoin and save you, but I'm conflicted, because the more you kill each other, the more my Bitcoin is worth. So, I'm conflicted. And you want me to help you, but you have to bottom out in the fiat money world. You have to bottom out on warmongering. You have to bottom out on your religious nonsense, to accept Bitcoin. If you're not going to, I don't care, because you're just going to print money to add ad nauseum to infinity. And it just means Bitcoin goes to keeps going higher and higher. So, we'll see. The solution is here for you, but if you don't want it, I don't care.
Bitcoin Defunds War. That is powerful. Now, I want you to look at this from Joe Consorti. Bitcoin has spent nearly half of the year, 172 days above 100K. Very Very extended consolidation here, not typical of a cycle top. It spent 234 days consolidating last year before breaking out in mid Q4. It's fair to think that Bitcoin's bull market hasn't started yet, and gold is telling us the same thing. The end of the gold rally marks the start of the Bitcoin cycle, and not only does Bitcoin run, it goes ballistic. So what do you guys think? Is Q4 going to be explosive for Bitcoin, and where do you think we're headed? Let us know below, and also don't forget to grab those tickets to Mining Disrupt 2025. Mining Disrupt 2025 is almost here, and you don't want to miss it. The biggest Bitcoin mining event of the year is taking over Dallas, Texas, November 11th through the 13th. This may be the most important Bitcoin mining event in history. The biggest names in the industry, cutting-edge rigs, Bitcoin and AI integration, the signal you won't get anywhere else. Grab your tickets today and use promo code SimplyBitcoin for 20% off, and we'll see you there. That's it for today's show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Set those notifications on, and until next time, stack, slay, and stay bullish, baby.